Joseon everyone, my name is Wong and this is the newest Nikon flagship camera, the Nikon Z8. Oh shit. There you go, the Nikon Z8. I have done some photo shoots with it. If you want to check out those first, go to this timestamp. Now, many have called this the mini Nikon Z9 because it basically has all the features of the Z9 with the only major physical difference as the Z8 lacks a built-in vertical grip. But I can just buy one if I really wanted one for the Z8. Nikon also advertised this as the true successor to the famous D850, which is arguably one of Nikon's most successful digital cameras at launch. I remember how amazing the Nikon D850 was, and I'm not surprised that this will be a camera that will fully impress me as well. Anyway, enough talking, let's open this up. Alright, so you got the charger here, which I have many of this already, so I don't need to open up another one. You got the things that can help you, I guess, secure the HDMI or the USB ports from the side. And here's another one that's for holding the cord. You got the Nikon ENEL15C, a 2280 mAh battery. Now the great thing about this battery is that I have so many of this battery already since the Nikon D850, so it is great to still be using this one. Some people might complain about the the battery life, but I have so many batteries. I'm saving money, and I am more than happy to save money than buying whole new batteries and give me an extra like 50 shots or something. It comes with a Nikon strap. It doesn't say Nikon on it. It doesn't say Nikon Z8. Yeah, right here it only say Nikon Z, Nikon, not even Z8. Like there's nothing after that. And then a USB-C cable. All right, let's put this back in the box because I don't need this stuff. Ta-da! The Nikon Z8. It's actually bigger than I thought. Like I know it's gonna be bigger. It's gonna be without the battery grip of the Z9, which I haven't seen in person, but I expect it to be just a little bit smaller. But I am not complaining. This is a good size to have. Now let's compare this to the Nikon D850. I actually still have my Nikon D850 with me, and they are pretty similar. Like, these two cameras are pretty similar, and I see why they call it the true successor to the Nikon D850. It's kind of strange because I thought the Nikon Z7 would be the true successor, but I guess they wanted it to be a marketing campaign, so it's as successful as the D850. It is, if anything, it's hitting like a nostalgic factor, so I guess it's part of the marketing campaign. But you know what? I'm excited to check this out. So let's talk about some of the features. This thing is a beast. It has a stacked BSI CMOS image sensor and the XSpeed 7 processor, exactly like the Z9. And on top of that, the Z8 actually is slightly better than the Z9 when it comes to low light performance. But it is 33% lighter and obviously smaller too. Compared to the Nikon D850 DSLR, the new Nikon Z8 is actually 15% smaller and 95 grams lighter. The Z9 has 2 CF Express Type B slots, while the Z8 has 1 CF Express slot and also 1 SD card slot, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. The main benefit of the Z9 is just a little bit longer recording limit, but overall, the Nikon Z8 has made a lot of improvements on video features, which was always not the strongest suit of Nikon, so it looks like they're finally taking video seriously. Now, the only feature that I wish the Nikon Z8 has is a built-in GPS, which they do have it in the Nikon Z9. But if I connect my Z8 to my phone using SnapBridge, then it will start recording the GPS data as well. So it is really not that bad Currently, at launch, the Nikon Z8 is $1,500 USD cheaper than the Nikon Z9, so I would say that's a pretty good deal. But you know what? Enough of the comparison. Let's talk more in depth about the different features it has. There are a lot of great features of the Nikon Z8, including all of this. Did you read all of them? Did you get it? If not, just pause your screen. Alright, well, let's talk about some of my favorite features. Number 1, the Zero Blackout Viewfinder. This one is actually an undersold feature in my opinion, and you don't realize how important it is until you have it. Since the Nikon Z8 is a full electronic shutter camera, the Zero Blackout Viewfinder means you can capture the photo while looking at what you're shooting. This is not only important when shooting sport, it is pretty important when shooting portrait as well because you're able to see your subject at all time. You can be able to see the expressions or poses change without taking any breaks, and that helps connect me with the subject. Number 2, electronic shutter. It is completely silent. It is quite useful, especially when you're trying to be more stealthy, so you're not drawing any attention when shooting in public. And obviously, it is useful if you're shooting in like a library, a concert hall, or anywhere that you need to be quiet. Now, you can actually turn on the function for the Nikon Z8 to play the sound of the shutter, but it's just a sound file. Nikon has previously also teased that you can change it to a cat sound, which I really hope they implement it.
ちょっと連写してもらってもいいですか？
連写がいいですか？
はい、
ちょっと待って、じゃあ設定変えます。
どうなるかちょっと聞きたい。
はい、わかりました。連写をじゃあ秒5個までいきましょうか。
わかんない、もう猫なのかどうかわかんない。
Number 3, the articulating screen, the 4-axis tilting touchscreen. It is pretty cool, and it's super important when shooting vertical photos, especially at super high or super low angle. Another thing that I noticed is that when I'm using it in vertical mode, you can see the interface also changes, so it's easier for you to view the icons. In the past, I have to guess what I'm shooting because I can't see, especially way too high for me, but not anymore. However, I still think the flip screen provide more flexibility like the one that Sony or Canon has, so I'm not sure why Nikon doesn't implement it in their cameras. Maybe they think it is easily breakable, I don't know why, but it is what it is. Number 4, major video feature upgrades. This Nikon Z8 can shoot at 8K 30 frames per second or 4K at 120 frames per second. It has no crop on the 4K videos, which was a problem for me on the Nikon Z7. It can shoot 10-bit 422 color. Now those features are enough for me to create amazing shots without using other accessories like a recording screen, like a Atomos Ninja, which I previously need for doing any commercial work. Number 5, 32,000 of a second high shutter speed shooting. Previously, before the Nikon Z9, most Nikon cameras can only shoot up to 8,000 of a second. But now, the Nikon Z8 and the Z9 can shoot up to 32,000 of a second. This might not seem to be important to most people, but it is a game changer for me because I usually shoot at f1.2. Normally, I would need an ND filter to shoot at f1.2 in broad daylight because 8,000 of a second is just not fast enough, so my photo would overexpose, but not anymore. So this can provide additional 2-stop for me to do that. Number 6, the dual card slot. The dual card slot is actually more useful than just having a backup storage. Back when I was shooting with the Nikon D850, I would save my RAW files to the main cards, then the JPEG to my secondary card, the SD card in this case. The reason is so I can give the SD card to someone if they really want access to the photos instantly without stopping me from shooting. And it's very important when I'm shooting events where they want to post the photos instantly so they have a copy of the files while I'm shooting. And more people have SD card reader or laptop that have SD card reader built in than CF Express card reader. Now, here are also a few other features that I really appreciate. Anti-dust shutter during lens change, keeping the lens sensor clean, that's great. Illuminated buttons, which is great for shooting at night. USB charging, which is pretty useful if I forget to bring a battery charger. I'm forgetful sometimes. Real-time animal IAF, and I can get really cute photos of my friends' pets. Again, the battery is also the same one as the old Nikon D800, D810, D850, so I still have a bunch of those batteries left. I don't have to buy new ones. There's also skin softening, meaning I can export photo instantly to my phone to upload without having to deal with editing on a computer. Oh, and the red record border on the screen, which is so simple. I'm just surprised it took them that long to implement it. But now I have it, it's something that I feel like they should have had it in the first place. Anyway, time for me to test this out. Alright, what's up? We are out here in the wild, and those two over there are my friends. They're actors, and they also are stunt people. Yeah, they're amazing, cool, awesome people. You might have seen them before. Anyway, I literally got my Z8 last night, and just so happened that my friend Yoshi and his brother are shooting some content themselves today. So we have decided to meet up and get some photos and videos. I accidentally shot almost 4,000 photos because of how fast and how easy it is to shoot with the Z8. This is especially the case if I turn on silent mode, because I can't really tell how many photos it took while I press the shutter. Every time I press the button, it takes a bunch of photos, and there isn't even any vibrations. Another reason is that I was testing out the 120 frame per second JPEG mode, and I was able to catch him doing some cool sword flipping as if it was a video, and every shot was usable, especially if I was creating them for social media posting. The autofocus was the most impressive part for me. I was able to get them in focus 90% of the time, but only had a little trouble when they were about 50 to 60 feet away from me. But other than that, I didn't have any problem shooting with them with my 85 f1.2 lens. I also shot them doing some awesome kicks in 4K 120. However, I can't open the files because Adobe does not support the Nikon NEV files yet, and I'm too lazy to download DaVinci Resolve. So in the meantime, I'm going to switch to H.265 10 bits in my camera for all my 4K 120 videos until further notice. Originally, I wanted to test out shooting above 8,000 of a second, but it wasn't sunny enough that day. However, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem if I need it in the future. The Nikon SnapBridge app on my iPhone also had no problem auto connecting to my Z8, so I was able to get GPS data on all my shots. Check out some of the photos that I took that day. Alright, those were some fun shoots. Now, I didn't get this camera just because it is packed with amazing features, but I think it is a true upgrade for me. I have been using the Nikon Z7 since it was released back in 2018, so it's been like 5 years. I have not upgraded my main camera since then, especially since the Nikon Z7 II only has minor upgrades, especially photo shooting, which I'm mostly a photographer. Now, is this camera for everyone? Probably not, especially with a $4,000 price tag. But I think the Nikon did an amazing job at pricing this camera, and most importantly, I don't think they actually removed any major features just so they would encourage people to buy the Z9. Now this is actually super important and a very smart move on Nikon's part. In fact, I think it's one of the best marketing strategies so far for the Z8. For a company that is mostly conservative in its marketing efforts in the USA. The last time I saw this happen was with Sony and their Alpha series. Not only they were ahead of the other brands when it comes to pushing out the mirrorless camera, they were very good at putting the newest feature in the newest camera without having worry about hurting their own sales of the older cameras or higher flagship cameras. With smartphone cameras getting better and better, it does make sense for camera companies to stay competitive and do everything they can to get more market share. Now I can't wait to play with this camera more, so look out for my upcoming videos. Let me know also in a comment down below if Nikon Z8 is the right camera for you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.